And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the second expansion for a deck building game I really like, Shards of Infinity. This is Shadows of Salvation expansion pack. Now you might say, Tom, this expansion came out quite a bit ago. You're right, I got around to it because this is a campaign expansion. And I wasn't really that excited about it, honestly. I like deck building games. I didn't feel like I wanted to play through a campaign. I'm not necessarily on the board with this, hey, everything needs to be a campaign that happens these days. But hey, you know, I really did like Shards of Infinity, and I heard this stuff added stuff outside the campaign. So I got around to playing it. Let's take a look. So first of all, you have a new character that you can play here, Rez, who's just another cool-looking character, but you have these two cards you can play with allies. This one's pretty awesome. Get an extra turn once per game. Or here, when you recruit, just put in your hand and you can play any ally in a center row for free. Wait, what? Yeah, that's pretty cool. One of my favorite cards. There's also several cards that you'll add to the deck in general. You got Cloud Oracles, which if you have more experience than all the enemy players, get 2. So if you're an experienced person, these are great. And we have Swift, which lets you gain 2 and 2 attack. And if you are Rez, you recruit any card you fast play. Okay, great. So a card specifically for Rez. And then some dogs. Dash, you can fetch an Aeon card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Brute, fast play any ally in the center row with cost 2 or less for free. Not bad. And Lucky, because every dog is named Lucky at some point, where you can fast play any ally in the center row with cost 3 or less for free. Lucky and Brute are kind of two sides of one coin. Now, Rez this is the only stuff in this expansion that you can just play straight up by itself, throw it in a normal game. The rest of the campaign will be using the Battle Book. The Battle Book is a campaign, but it's a pretty short campaign. You read the story and, hey, Rez is there, and you talk to him and blah, blah, blah. And then you get to a boss fight that you're going to be fighting. You're going to pick one of these two bosses to fight. Once you pick that boss to fight, it will tell you what to do next. You'll then go to that boss and fight that boss. So in this case, let's say we decide to fight Moxai here. So I'm going to find Moxai's cards. Each of these has 6 cards. And then it shows you 2 factions. There are 4 factions included with the game. So I'm going to take all the cards for those factions and the boss, and I'm going to shuffle these cards together. So this is going to form a deck that's called the Fate deck that players will be using over the course of this game. So you're going to place that, put it together. Everything else is the same. You'll take all the normal cards. Players are going to be playing together. You're going to take a dial that shows the boss's hit points, which here you can see are 50, and or any starting experience, which in this case is 0, and you'll be keeping track of those through this cooperative game where players are going to be trying to defeat the boss. In this game, the boss will take a turn, then players will take a turn. In a boss turn, each player is going to draw a card from the Fate deck and put it in front of them. Some of them are attacks. Like when this is played, Moxai gets 2 experience, and players can collectively spend 5 to get rid of this. So, you know, you could spend money to do that. And when Moxai gets to certain levels of experience points, he's going to have special effects, like Planet Instability does 10 damage to you instead. Or once it gets to 15, each turn the team leader is dealt an additional Fate card. You'll draw 2 of these cards. Or Unstable Rifts may no longer be discarded when he gets to 30, which is very problematic. Other cards will often show the different champions. If you have a champion in front of you, that champion's going to attack you. Sometimes it will say ambush, like for example here. When this is played, put the top card of the center deck under this. He steals that card and he has attack equal to the cost of the card under it. Once he's destroyed, then you get the card that's underneath this. So players will try to defend against these cards, and then you'll take normal turns. You can fight these minions. Once you defeat the minions in front of you, your extra damage will go to the big boss itself, and you're going to keep playing till the big boss wins or two players win. If you reduce the boss to 0, you win. But if any player is reduced to 0, everyone has one last chance to win. Otherwise, you're going to die, and then you'll reset and you'll start over. Or not start over, you're going to follow the book here. So you can see if you're victorious, go to page 12, otherwise go to 30. Page 12 says do this, and then you get to save allies. So there's an ally deck that comes with this game, and you're going to draw these cards and draft these in your hand, and they're just awesome cards. There's all kinds of cool ally cards in here, much of the same artwork. Hey, there's Brute again, Spore Cleric, all kinds of things in here that you'll be able to use, and these people as an ally. And here you can use him as an ally himself, or Warp Quartz, or whatever it is. So there's all sorts of things that you'll get. If you lose, page 30 says, this is what you do next. If you lost to someone, you go to these specific pages, and you have a chance to get more cards, so you can kind of come back. And then you pick your next bad guy that you fight, and maybe I fight Dominatus here now with different factions, or the Crimson Thorn, or Vera the Glitch Mother, or Vera the Mind Hacker, different ones that you've done. And once you beat them, you can go online to see what happens after that. But that is how the campaign game works. That's pretty much it. You're going to play. This expansion has a little bit of extra stuff to throw in the main game, but it's mostly about playing through this mini campaign. Component-wise, I kind of wish, I mean, on one hand, I'm glad that all these pictures are the same, because it's easier to separate the decks out for each of the main bad guys. Like, oh, well, these all have the same artwork on them. At the same time, I wouldn't have minded had they shown some differing poses. They have different monsters here that you fight against, and that's kind of cool. These things all look evil and nasty and bad. I like the new stuff. Rez is probably my favorite looking hero of all the heroes. I also like that he's red and named Rez, but the book itself, the story's okay. It's fine. You know, this looks very basic, but at the same time, since you're actually playing with this book on the table, that's not bad at all. Everything fits in the box, and I haven't tried to squish it all in the main box, but I'm pretty sure you can get it all in. Now, in this particular instance, to be transparent, I played through this campaign by myself. Playing through, and it was fine. It's very hard. I lost several times, but it's beatable, and I can beat the bad guys in this, and I especially like that you level up as you get these extra cool cards. They get added to your starter deck, so that's kind of a neat aspect. I really like the new hero and the 12 new cards, but realize there's no way on earth I would buy an expansion just for 12 cards in the hero. Not worth it. You only should get this expansion if you're interested in this, going through this battle book and fighting these bad guys. And that's fine. It was fine. I just don't know that I would go out of my way to get this. I love Shards of Infinity, and this works as a campaign game. In fact, if you do play multiplayer, you have these, the bad guys are fighting you, and you can all play simultaneous, which means in the center row, you can buy cards simultaneously. So I might buy one, and you're like, I was going to use that one. There's a little bit of cooperation there and to fight things, but for the most part, it seems like it would still be a somewhat solitary experience. So this is exactly what it says. It is a campaign, and I'll give you, it's a short campaign. Well, as long as you win. You start losing a bit, you might be playing it for a while. But the games themselves aren't long. I'm not convinced at the end of the day that, this is a compelling story at all. I'm not interested in this story. I mean, this is some future weird thing that I kind of ignored. I just had a fun time playing the deck builder. Fun, simple deck builder. This story in the background, and now you fight bad guys. Okay, fine. I'm helping Rez out or whatever. It works on a level. It's just that I wasn't, like I said at the beginning, looking forward to this, but it didn't change my mind either. I played it and I was like, that's good, but I wouldn't go buy it. Now, this is kind of where you're at. If you're watching this, were you wanting a campaign with Shards of Infinity? You got it. Go ahead, play it. You'll have a great time, and you will enjoy those extra cards in between turns leveling up. You'll also enjoy the fact that I feel it's quite difficult. If you're not, and you're like me and you just want more cards for the deck, then this is a pass. And I just wait for the next expansion instead. Now, don't get me wrong, Shards of Infinity, still a fantastic game. And even playing through the campaign, I wasn't a huge fan of the campaign, still loved all the different things, and I really did like getting those extra cards to my starter deck, to the point where I was like, is there a way I can incorporate that in the main game? But either way, that's what's in the box here, Shadow of Salvation. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment, fun, but best if you like the campaign.